Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going interstellar, exploring the intersection of space, belief, and that age-old yearning for home. You know that feeling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So our source material today, a clip from a YouTube video titled The Firmament. And this is actually a scene from a sci-fi film that really got me thinking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so picture this. Two characters, a professor and a pilot. They're hurtling through space on a mission to, get this, the Sinai asteroid belt? Right. But here's the catch. The professor is absolutely convinced that Earth exists, even though they've never actually seen it, and they're relying solely on this 500-year-old poem as proof.
Really?
Yeah.
So like they've never seen pictures or anything?
No visual evidence or anything like that, just this poem.
That's wild.
Meanwhile, the pilot, they're all about fuel levels, oxygen, the nuts and bolts of survival out there in the vastness of space.
It's a pretty big contrast.
Right. So what do you make of that? Starting with the professor's just unshakable belief in Earth.
Well, I mean, what's really fascinating to me is that the professor's argument, it's not really about scientific data or any kind of concrete evidence. It's almost as if they're clinging to Earth as this, like, idealized concept,
Yeah.
like a symbol of hope and beauty and a place of belonging in a universe that often feels, well, kind of cold and indifferent.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes you wonder, is it easier to believe in something that you've never actually seen?
That is such a good point. And it makes the pilot's skepticism, well, it makes it even more understandable, right?
Wow.
I mean, they're focused on what's right in front of them, the tangible stuff, the immediate threats to their survival.
Exactly.
It's like this clash of worldviews almost.
Yeah, totally. And this clash, it actually reminds me of Plato's theory of forms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So it's this idea that for every object we see in the physical world, there's like this perfect form of it that exists somewhere else, like a blueprint. So think about like the concept of a chair.
Okay.
We've all seen tons of chairs, right?
For sure.
All shapes and sizes. But they all share this like common essence, this form of a chair that we all just kind of understand.
That makes sense.
So it's like the professor's applying that same concept to Earth,
Interesting.
holding on to this perfect idealized form of it, even though they haven't actually experienced the real place.
Whoa, that's a really cool connection. So in a way, the professor is searching for this perfect,
Yeah.
this idealized Earth that might not even exist in reality.
Yeah.
It's like chasing a phantom almost.
Exactly. And that makes the pilot's grounded perspective, well, makes it even more interesting to me.
Yeah.
They're concerned with fuel and oxygen, like those very real life-sustaining elements that their ship, well, it can't produce them.
Right.
So it makes you kind of think, where did those resources come from?
Oh, I see what you mean. So even in the pilot's skepticism, there's this underlying awareness that they're dependent on something. Like this origin point that they haven't actually witnessed themselves.
Exactly.
That's a really clever way to introduce that seed of doubt.
Right.
Even for the pragmatist, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And to add another layer to this whole thing, their mission is taking them to the Sinai asteroid belt,
Right.
which, if you remember, is specifically mentioned in that ancient poem
Oh, yeah.
as a site of destruction.
Oh, wow.
So it creates this underlying tension, this sense that they're heading towards a place tied to both hope and potential danger.
Okay, now things are getting really interesting. So we have this clash of worldviews, this ancient poem that's hinting at both a lost home and a perilous journey. And now they're approaching this infamous asteroid belt. What happens next?
Okay, so this is where the film really blends science fiction with real-world astronomy.
Okay.
As they get closer to the asteroid belt, they use this advanced technology to scan for wreckage.
Interesting.
It's similar to how we search for extraterrestrial life today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, using telescopes and stuff, analyzing radio signals, looking for any clues, anything that might point to something or someone out there.
That's amazing how they've kind of woven this real-world scientific practice into this search for a mythical home planet. It almost blurs the lines between science and faith, would you say?
It definitely does. And that's where the real turning point of this clip happens.
Okay.
The scan picks up something, an old hydrogen tank, just drifting out there amidst the asteroids.
Huh.
It seems like a small detail, but it carries some huge implications.
It's interesting how something so simple can become so loaded with meaning, especially in the context of this search for their home. So what's the professor's reaction to this discovery?
Their reaction is really human, I think. It's this mix of excitement and apprehension.
I could see that.
On one hand, it's tangible evidence. like something that validates their belief in Earth.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's this sense of like, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yeah.
What if the reality of Earth doesn't live up to this idealized version in their mind?
It's almost as if the discovery, instead of solidifying their belief, throws their whole worldview into question, you know? It's like they've been so focused on this perfect form of Earth that they haven't really considered what the actual physical Earth might be like.
Exactly.
And now they have to confront this possibility that the journey, the search itself, has been more fulfilling than the destination might turn out to be.
You got it. And this actually brings us to another fascinating point. The poem itself.
Right.
You know, it's not just a plot device. It's almost like a character in this story.
I like that.
This ancient text, passed down through who knows how many generations. It seems to hold the key to both their past and their future.
It acts as this guide for the professor, a map leading them to their supposed home, but it also foreshadows all the dangers along the way.
It's both a source of hope and a warning,
Yeah.
reminding them that this path to paradise regained, well, that's not going to be easy.
And speaking of those final lines, what do you make of them?
Well, the ending of the poem is particularly thought-provoking. It talks about a return to Earth, but leaves you wondering, is it a physical return or a return to the idea, the hope that Earth represents?
Oh, that's a good question. And considering that the poem clearly describes the dangers of the Sinai Belt, and now they've found proof that at least one ship was destroyed there,
Yeah.
does this discovery lend more credence to the poem's authenticity? Or is it just a coincidence?
It's a question that the clip intentionally leaves unanswered.
Right.
It makes you think about the nature of belief, the power of stories, and how we hold on to hope, even when faced with uncertainty.
This whole concept of home is so intriguing, especially when you're talking about venturing out into space.
Right.
Is it a physical place, or a sense of belonging, or a connection to the past? Or is it something more abstract, like this longing for something we may never fully grasp?
I think it's probably a combination of all of those things.
Yeah.
And what makes this clip so powerful to me is that it taps into this universal human desire for connection, for meaning, a place where we feel like we truly belong.
Totally.
And it does it through this really captivating blend of science fiction and philosophical inquiry and genuine human emotion.
It also makes you wonder, even in a technologically advanced future, where we might be like traversing galaxies and stuff, will these fundamental questions about our place in the universe, will they still linger?
That's a good question.
And will we continue to seek answers through stories and myths, just like the professor does?
It's a good reminder that while technology might evolve, human nature kind of stays the same. We crave understanding, we seek connection, and we yearn for a sense of home, whether it's a physical location or an abstract ideal.
Absolutely. It really gives you a new perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes me wonder, if you were on that spaceship, searching for this mythical Earth, how would you feel as that hydrogen tank was discovered? Would it validate your belief in Earth, or just raise more questions?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think it would spark a wave of curiosity in me, but also like a healthy dose of caution.
Yeah.
I don't think it would necessarily confirm or deny my belief in Earth's existence,
Okay.
but it would definitely fuel my desire to learn more.
Right.
It's a tantalizing clue, you know, like a piece of the puzzle, but it's only one piece.
It's like that feeling of being on the edge of a major scientific breakthrough. You have this evidence, but it raises even more questions. It pushes you to keep exploring, to dig deeper.
Precisely. And that's what makes this clip so compelling. It leaves you with a sense of wonder, this desire to continue the journey, even though you don't really know what you'll find at the end.
And that is the beauty of a good deep dive. It leaves us with more questions than answers, but it also ignites that spark of curiosity, that desire to learn, to explore, to keep searching for our own paradise regained, whatever that may be.
Maybe for some, that paradise is the pursuit of knowledge itself.
Beautifully said. So to our listener out there, we encourage you to continue exploring these themes. Maybe even seek out the full Firmament film and see where the story leads. You might be surprised at what you discover, not just about the universe, but about yourself. Till next time, keep diving.
It's like that feeling of being on the edge of like a major scientific breakthrough.
Yeah.
You have this evidence, but it raises even more questions.
Right.
It pushes you to keep exploring, to dig deeper.
Exactly. And that's what makes this clip so compelling. It leaves us with this sense of wonder, a desire to continue the journey. even though we don't know what we'll find at the end.
Precisely. And that's what I think makes this clip so powerful. It leaves us with this feeling of wonder,
Yeah.
this desire to keep going, to continue the journey, even though we don't know for sure what we'll find.
And that, my friend, is the beauty of a good deep dive.
It
Leaves us with more questions than answers. But it also ignites that spark of curiosity, that desire to learn, to explore, to keep searching for our own paradise regained, whatever that may be.
Perhaps for some people, that paradise is the pursuit of knowledge itself.
Beautifully said. So to our listener out there, we encourage you to continue exploring these themes. Maybe even seek out the full Firmament film and see where this story leads. You might be surprised at what you discover, not just about the universe, but about yourself. Until next time, keep diving.
It's like you're right there on the edge of some huge scientific breakthrough.
Yeah.
You have this evidence,
It
but
just raises more questions.
yeah, you want to keep going.
Yeah, and it pushes you to keep exploring, like you have to dig deeper.
Precisely. And I think that's really what makes this clip so compelling. It just leaves you with this sense of wonder, this desire to continue the journey,
Yeah.
even though we don't really know what we'll find at the end.
Exactly. And that, my friend, is the beauty of a good deep dive.
Totally.
It leaves us with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
But it sparks that curiosity, that desire to learn and explore, to keep searching for our own paradise regained, whatever that may be.
Yeah, like maybe for some people.
Yeah.
That paradise is the pursuit of knowledge itself.
Beautifully said. So to our listener out there, we encourage you to keep exploring these themes. Maybe even check out the full Firmament film and see where the story goes from here. You never know what you might discover, not just about the universe, but about yourself. Until next time, keep diving.